Some mods wake your engine up, others send it straight to the graveyard. I tuned a Subaru WRX with proper injectors, intercooler, and a dyno tune. It now runs 380 WHP reliably, but another owner trusted a cheap eBay tune chip and blew his motor in 3 days. We're breaking down 15 proven upgrades that build real performance, and exposing 5 common mods that could wreck faster than you ever thought. Even worse, blow it, and you're buying a $5,000 engine. Let's separate the beasts from the busts. Mod number 13. ECU Tuning or Remapping. Unlocking hidden power doesn't always mean tearing the engine apart. Sometimes, all it takes is tuning what's already there. ECU Remapping, or tuning, is one of the most effective ways to squeeze out serious performance without turning a single wrench. The engine control unit runs everything: fuel delivery, ignition timing, throttle response, and more. From the factory, it's programmed for safety, emissions, and general use. But with a proper tune, those settings can be reworked to match your specific setup, whether you've got a cold air intake, upgraded exhaust, or both. The gains? Very real. A well-done remap can add anywhere from 10 to 30 horsepower, depending on your vehicle and supporting mods. But it's not just about power. A custom tune can improve fuel economy, sharpen throttle response, or even change driving modes: eco, sport, or full send track mode. And the best part? No major physical changes are required, no engine teardowns, no expensive bolt-ons. Just optimized performance built around your car. It's clean, powerful, and tailored to how you drive. When done by a skilled tuner, ECU Remapping transforms your car's personality and makes every mod work harder and smarter. You've tweaked the brain, now let's help it breathe a little deeper. Mod number 12, cold air intake. Give your engine the breath of fresh air it's been begging for. A cold air intake, CAI, is one of the smartest and most effective bolt-ons you can get your hands on. It's not just hype, this mod actually delivers. By pulling in cooler, denser air from outside the engine bay, a CAI improves combustion, boosts power, and sharpens throttle response. Expect a gain of 5 to 15 horsepower depending on your vehicle. That might not sound massive, but it's noticeable, especially when paired with other performance upgrades. Throttle response becomes more immediate, and the overall driving feel tightens up. You'll also hear the difference. That soft stock hum gets replaced with a deeper, more aggressive intake growl every time you hit the gas. It's a relatively inexpensive upgrade and one that doesn't require a pro mechanic to install. Most systems can be fitted in a few hours with basic tools and a little patience. Plus, if the system is well designed, you might even see a slight bump in fuel economy. If you're after performance, you can feel, hear, and actually afford, a CAI is a no-brainer. Just make sure you don't cheap out on the parts. Breathing in is just half the battle. How about chilling that hot air before it hits the fire? Mod number 11, Performance Intercooler. Heat steals power, and a weak intercooler lets it. That's why upgrading to a performance intercooler is a game changer for any boosted setup. When your turbo or supercharger compresses air, it gets blazing hot. Hot air is less dense, which means less oxygen, weaker combustion, and inconsistent performance. A performance intercooler cools that air down before it hits the engine, giving you stronger, cleaner power on demand. It's not just about peak horsepower, it's about repeatability. Factory intercoolers often suffer from heat soak, where temperatures climb and power drops off. A high-quality aftermarket intercooler keeps intake temps stable, letting your car pull hard, lap after lap, or during aggressive street driving without falling flat. But size and design matter. An intercooler that's too big can cause turbo lag, while one too small won't cool efficiently. Match it to your build and goals, whether that's daily driving, track days, or full-send drag runs. This is one of those mods that works behind the scenes but delivers serious results. Cooler air, consistent power, and better engine reliability. It's a solid upgrade that pays off every time you hit the throttle. Air's cooled and ready. Time to open up the back end and let the beast exhale. But before we unleash that rumble, give that like button a little rev and subscribe so you don't miss the next gear grinding upgrade. Mod number 10, exhaust headers and high flow exhaust. Let your engine breathe and then let it exhale. A stock exhaust system holds things back. It builds pressure, slows down airflow, and chokes power. That's where exhaust headers and a high-flow exhaust come in. They reduce back pressure and let the engine push out gases faster. That means more power, more torque, and a stronger pull when you hit the throttle. You'll feel it, especially in the mid to high RPM range. The throttle response sharpens up. The engine sounds deeper and more aggressive, but not obnoxious. Now, choosing the right headers is key. Shorty headers are great for quick throttle response and everyday driving. Long tube headers? Those are for serious power gains at higher revs, perfect for track builds or high-performance setups. Pair the right headers with a quality high-flow exhaust, and you've got a setup that performs and sounds the part. It's not just about noise, it's about efficiency, flow, and unlocking power that's already there. But all that power leaves behind a dirty little secret, and it's clogging up more than you think. Mod number 9, oil, catch, can. Your engine might be building power, but it's also building up something nasty. Oil blow-by. It's that fine mist of oil and fuel vapors that slips past your piston rings and ends up clogging your intake. Over time, it cakes onto your intake valves, especially in direct injection engines where fuel doesn't wash them clean. That's why a catch can is your cleanup crew. It grabs those oily vapors before they gunk up your system. You're not gaining horsepower from it, but you are keeping the power you've already built. Cleaner valves mean better airflow, smoother response, and fewer long-term issues. On direct injection engines, this isn't just helpful, it's a must. Without it, buildup creeps in fast and performance starts to dip. Just make sure you're using a quality baffled unit, not some no-name knockoff. And yeah, you'll need to drain it now and then, but that's a small price to pay. It's the unsung hero of engine health. Low cost, easy install, and it keeps your setup breathing clean and running strong. Don't skip it. Your engine will thank you every mile. That the mess is under control, it's time to light the fire and keep it burning clean. Mod number 8, upgraded spark plugs and ignition coils. A powerful engine is useless if the spark can't keep up. When you crank up the boost or load in a performance tune, your stock ignition system starts to struggle. Weak sparks mean incomplete combustion, misfires, and a serious drop in performance. That's where high-performance spark plugs and ignition coils step in to keep everything running clean and strong. Upgraded plugs burn hotter and more efficiently, giving you a more complete combustion cycle. That translates to better throttle response, smoother power delivery, and fewer hiccups under load. Add in quality coils, and you're getting a consistent, high-energy spark, exactly what your engine needs when the pressure's on. But here's the catch. Don't guess your setup. Use the right heat range, and make sure your coils are matched to your engine and tune. The wrong combo can cause more problems than it solves. It's not the flashiest mod on the list, but it's one of the most important. A strong spark keeps your engine sharp, responsive, and ready to deliver every time you put your foot down. Consider it the quiet powerhouse behind real performance. Mod number 7, performance camshaft. If you really want to wake up your engine, this is the move. A performance camshaft changes how your engine breathes. It controls when the valves open, how long they stay open, and how much air and fuel flows through. And when it's dialed in right, the difference is massive. With the right supporting upgrades, a good cam can add 30 to 40 horsepower. That's not just numbers on paper, you'll feel it. Throttle response gets sharper, power delivery gets stronger, the engine pulls harder across the rev range. But here's the thing, this mod isn't for beginners. You can't just drop it in and go. The cam needs to match your valve train, and you'll absolutely need a proper tune. Skip those steps, and things can go sideways fast. That said, when it's done right, a camshaft upgrade is one of the most rewarding mods out there. It gives your engine real personality and real performance. Not subtle, not soft, just power. Plain and simple. Power's rising, but so is the heat. You'll want to cool things off before they boil over. Mod number 6, aluminum radiator upgrade. High temps will end the party fast. Whether you're carving corners or stuck in stop-and-go traffic, excessive heat can turn a strong engine into a ticking time bomb. That's why a high-quality aluminum radiator isn't just a nice upgrade, it's a must once you start adding power. Unlike cheap plastic end-tank radiators, aluminum units handle heat like a champ. They cool more efficiently, flow better, and shrug off stress during heavy loads or hot weather. The result? Lower engine temps, reduced risk of heat soak, and a much happier cooling system overall. But don't stop at just the radiator. If you're upgrading, go all in. Swap out those tire wired rubber hoses for high-temp silicone ones. Consider a performance thermostat that opens sooner to keep coolant circulating at just the right time. And don't rush the install. Air pockets in the system can ruin everything, so bleed it properly. You won't gain horsepower with this mod, but you'll protect every bit you've built. It's the difference between consistent pulls and pulling over with steam pouring out of the hood. Cool engines make more power, last longer, and run stronger. Keep it cool, and everything else stays in the game. With temps under control, you can manage the pressure because too much of a good thing can still blow the whole plan. Mod number 5, turbo timer or boost controller. Power is fun until it starts pushing past safe limits. Once you're running a turbocharged setup, keeping things under control becomes just as important as making more boost. And that's where two smart tools come into play, the turbo timer and the boost controller. Start with the turbo timer. After a spirited drive, your turbo stays red hot. Cutting the engine too soon stops oil flow and leaves that heat trapped inside. Over time, it can damage the turbo's bearings. A turbo timer solves this by letting the engine idle just long enough to cool things down. Quick, simple, and seriously effective. Now let's talk boost control. It's not just about turning it up, it's about turning it up responsibly. A boost controller gives you the flexibility to manage pressure levels based on your setup. More boost when conditions are right, dialed back when they're not. But be warned, this only works if the engine is properly tuned and built to handle it. Together, these mods don't just help you go faster, they help you go smarter. And when it comes to turbo power, smart always wins. Mod number 4, upgraded fuel injectors and fuel pump. Making more power means feeding your engine more fuel, reliably. Once you start adding boost or going beyond factory horsepower levels, the stock fuel system usually can't keep up. And when fuel delivery falls short, you risk running lean. And that's a fast track to serious engine damage. Upgraded injectors provide the flow your engine needs under heavy load. They spray more fuel, more precisely, and keep combustion stable at higher RPMs. But they're only half the story. A high-performance fuel pump makes sure there's enough pressure and volume to support that demand, especially during wide-open throttle pulls or track sessions. Don't just throw in the biggest injectors you can find. Bigger isn't always better. Match your injector size to your build, your power goals, and your tuning strategy. And yes, tuning is non-negotiable. These upgrades require a proper calibration to run smoothly and safely. Think of your fuel system like the veins of your build. If the flow isn't right, nothing else matters. Power, reliability, and engine safety all start with proper fueling. And this mod makes sure you've got it locked in. You've got fuel, fire, and air. Now cut the weight, because lighter means quicker, sharper, meaner. Mod number 3, lightweight flywheel. Losing weight in the right place changes everything. When you cut rotational mass at the crank, your engine doesn't just rev, it snaps. That's the magic of a lightweight flywheel. It doesn't add horsepower, but it transforms how the power feels. Acceleration becomes quicker, downshifts get sharper, and the whole car feels more eager, more connected, more alive. This isn't some high-risk, high-maintenance mod either. It's mechanical simplicity with real-world benefits, perfect for manual transmission cars, especially if you're into track days or spirited weekend drives. Every gear change feels tighter. Every blip on throttle feels cleaner. And when you heel toe, it just works. But it's not all sunshine. There's a trade-off. Lighter flywheels store less momentum, which means hill starts or low-speed cruising might feel a bit jumpy. Daily drivers may notice a slightly choppier feel in traffic. That's the price of performance. Still, if you're building a responsive, fast-revving setup and you don't mind a little rawness, this is one of those sleeper mods that delivers more than expected. It's not about top-end numbers, it's about driving feel. And when that feel is right, everything else just clicks. Big changes start small. This next one might look simple, but don't underestimate what clean air can do. Mod number 2, Highflow air filter. Sometimes, all it takes is letting your engine breathe better. A high-flow air filter does exactly that, and it's one of the easiest mods you can do. Just pop out the factory paper filter, Drop this one in, and you have better airflow, sharper throttle, and a more responsive feel right off the line. This isn't snake oil. It's a proven upgrade that complements other mods like a tune or exhaust. You won't get wild horsepower jumps, but paired with the right setup, you'll unlock better combustion and smoother power delivery. Plus, it helps your ECU breathe a little easier. You're not hacking up your intake, you're not triggering codes, and you're not violating emissions rules. Just better performance, cleaner airflow, and a reusable filter that can last the life of the car with proper maintenance. Mod number 1, Oil Cooler Kit. Pushing your engine hard without managing oil temps is like sprinting in a hoodie. Things get ugly, fast. That's where an oil cooler steps in. It doesn't add power, but it protects every bit you've built. When oil temps rise, viscosity drops. That means thinner oil, weaker protection, and metal-on-metal wear. And once you're into boost or high RPMs, it only gets worse. Heat builds up faster than stock systems can handle, especially in turbocharged setups. One track session or summer canyon run can push oil temps well past the danger zone. An aftermarket oil cooler adds a dedicated loop to pull heat out of the system. It gives your engine room to breathe even when you're going full send. Think of it as insurance for your internals. Bearings, pistons, and turbos all last longer when things stay cool. Just be smart with your setup. Use quality fittings, proper routing, and a thermostat to avoid overcooling during street use. It's not glamorous, but it's essential. You've dialed in the mods that make power safer, smoother, and smarter. But not everything sold as an upgrade deserves a spot under your hood. Now let's get into the ones you'll want to avoid. Mod number 1, Catless downpipe. More noise doesn't always mean more performance, and when it comes to Catless downpipes, the risks often outweigh the rewards. Removing the catalytic converter might free up exhaust flow, but it also opens the door to serious consequences you can't ignore. First, let's talk legality. In most places, running without a catalytic converter is flat out illegal. It violates emissions laws like EPA and CARB regulations and can lead to big fines if you're caught, whether during a roadside inspection or at a testing center. Beyond the legal headache, there's the environmental hit. A Catless system releases more harmful gases, like nitrogen oxides and unburnt hydrocarbons, into the air. That means more pollution and more heat, not just outside the car, but potentially inside the cabin too. It gets worse if your car is street-driven. You'll fail emissions tests, and the strong exhaust fumes can be unbearable, especially in traffic or at idle. Not to mention, the extra heat can stress nearby components and affect overall reliability. Unless you're building a full track-only car, this mod isn't worth the risk. There are better, safer ways to gain power without turning your car into a rolling emissions violation. Choose smart performance, not just loud pipes. But don't forget, even looks cook your performance. Mod number 2, engine dress-up kits that trap heat. Looks can kill, literally. Those shiny engine bay dress-up kits made of chrome or plastic, they might win car shows, but they choke your engine with heat. When you start covering vital parts, like valve covers, intake manifolds, or fuse boxes, with blinged out metal or non-breathable materials, you're doing one thing: insulating heat where it shouldn't be. Your underhood temps go up, airflow suffers, and performance drops. That heat buildup can bake sensors, fry wiring, and even warp components over time. Not to mention, some of those kits are universal fit nightmares, rattling loose, blocking access to maintenance items, or interfering with engine movement under load. Function should always come first. If it's not reducing heat, improving airflow, or helping reliability, it doesn't belong near your engine. You want performance that's built, not just polished. Let your car shine on the road, not just under hood lights. Once the heat's trapped, some folks try to fix it with a bottle of bold promises and bad science. Mod number 3, Octane Booster Additives from gas stations. If you're chasing power, don't fall for bottled promises. Those gas station octane boosters with flashy labels and wild claims, most of them are pure hype with little to no real payoff. Here's the truth. The majority of cheap octane additives barely move the needle. We're talking a bump of 0.2 to maybe 0.5 octane points. nowhere near what your engine needs to make a difference. And modern ECUs? They're smart enough to ignore that kind of minor change entirely, but it gets worse. These boosters often contain harsh chemicals that don't play nice with your fuel system. Over time, they can foul up oxygen sensors and even damage your catalytic converter. That extra kick ends up costing you in long-term reliability. So, what's the smarter move? If your build actually needs more octane, like on a high compression or boosted setup, get it from a proper pump. Go with premium fuel or race gas from a trusted station. No gimmicks, no snake oil. Octane boosters might sound like easy horsepower in a bottle, but they're more marketing than muscle. Save your engine, save your money, and leave that bottle on the shelf. Mod number 4, fake blow-off valves or turbo whistles. Under the hood, everything should have a purpose. Those fake blow-off valves and turbo whistles, they don't. They're designed to make your car sound boosted without adding a single ounce of performance. It's just artificial noise. No power, no gains, nothing useful. You're not getting more speed. You're not improving airflow. You're just bolting on a toy that tricks your ears but fools no one who actually knows cars. Worse, these cheap parts can rattle loose over time. Some even end up damaging your intake system. That's money out of your pocket for something that never did anything in the first place. It might get attention at a stoplight, but it's not the kind you want. These gimmicks signal one thing: fake performance. Real builds are about function, reliability, and actual results. If it doesn't help your engine run better, stay cooler, or make more power, it's not worth it. Stick to mods that do real work. Let your engine speak for itself, because if you're going to make noise, make sure it's backed by something that matters. Mod number 5, electric superchargers. If it promises big gains and plugs into your cigarette lighter, run. Electric superchargers, often sold online with bold claims and flashy ads, are one of the biggest scams in the car mod world. They're marketed as cheap horsepower hacks, but in reality, they do absolutely nothing for performance. In fact, they can actually harm your engine. Most of these devices are nothing more than glorified fans shoved into your intake. They don't build boost, they don't increase airflow in any meaningful way, and they definitely don't create pressure like a real supercharger or turbo. What they can do is restrict airflow, confuse your ECU, and even damage sensors over time. Some units draw power from your battery to spin tiny electric motors. The result? You lose electrical efficiency and gain nothing in return. No extra power, no throttle response, no improved driving feel, just empty promises and wasted money. If you're serious about performance, skip the shortcuts. Real gains come from real upgrades, backed by data, tuning, and proper engineering. There are no magic fixes in a box, and definitely not from something you bought for $60 online. Keep your build clean. Don't feed it lies. But if that wasn't risky enough, the next mod gives you real power and real danger if you mess it up. Mod number 6, nitrous oxide injection. Instant power sounds great until it tears your engine apart. Nitrous oxide systems, often hyped for their insane horsepower gains, are one of the most misunderstood and misused mods in the performance world. Yes, when set up correctly, nitrous can deliver a huge punch. 50, 100, even 150 extra horsepower with the press of a button. It's cost-effective, and for drag racing or short bursts, it absolutely works. But that kind of instant power comes with serious risks. Without proper tuning, the sudden pressure spike can lead to violent detonation. We're talking bent rods, cracked pistons, blown head gaskets, real damage that adds up fast. And that's not even touching the safety side. Pressurized tanks inside a street car are no joke. In a crash, they can become a fire or explosion hazard. There's also the legal side to think about. Nitrous is banned or heavily restricted in many areas for street use. And if your insurance company finds out, say goodbye to coverage and your warranty. This isn't a casual mod, it's a serious system meant for track use only. If you're not building for race day, you're better off investing in safer, smarter power gains. And just when you think you've made it, a cheap kit with a shiny turbo walks in like it owns the place. Spoiler, it doesn't end well. Mod number 7, cheap turbo kits without support or tuning. Chasing boost on a budget might sound tempting, but a cheap turbo kit without proper support is a shortcut to disaster. These low-cost setups flood the market with shiny parts and big promises, but under the surface, they're a ticking time bomb. Most of these kits cut corners on the essentials: poor quality materials, weak welds, and parts that barely fit, and that's just the beginning. Without proper tuning and supporting mods, like upgraded fuel systems, cooling, and internals, you're throwing your engine into a war it's not built for. The result? Heat, detonation, and blown motors. And once something goes wrong, those savings vanish fast. Repairs, replacements, downtime, it adds up quick. What looked like a deal turns into a much more expensive lesson. Boost is a beautiful thing when done right, but it demands balance, quality parts, precise tuning, and the right supporting upgrades. Without that, you're not building performance. You're gambling with your engine's life. If you're serious about going turbo, take your time. Save for the right parts. Work with a reputable tuner, because real power isn't cheap, and cheap power doesn't last. Performance isn't just about adding parts. It's about making the right ones count. Invest where it matters, and your engine will reward you every mile. Ready to see how the outlaws bend the rules? Watch 10 illegal mods that actually make your car run better.